Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here, once again reviewing another Star Wars Andor review, and this time I'm finally found an Andor profile pic to use, because now I figured, okay, for these streams, might as well find a character that relates to the topic at hand and all that stuff, so yeah, might as well do Andor. Let's see, well, Obi-Wan Kenobi might be my favorite character, more appropriate to, start using the actual icon of the characters fitting for these streams and all that stuff. Since I'm doing it alone and all that stuff, and just having Obi-Wan Kenobi just appears to be a bit random. But yeah. Anyway, Star Wars episode Andor episode 10, One Way Out, in which is the third part of the Andor prison story arc and all that stuff. And we follow up from the last episode where in the Nakina Imperial 5 prison complex, where after learning the truth, Ritzy Andor ends up telling Ritzy, Kino, Loy, Andy Serkis' character, they need to escape now and all that stuff. How they probably, they outnumber the guards, there's 5,000 men there, and they're never going to leave and all that stuff. And what they're doing here is clearly important to the Empire, so let's see. Is either do or die, but Kino is unwilling to, commit to this because he doesn't feel like there's enough plan and all that stuff. This leads to a bit of a scuffle between the two and all that stuff, and then ends up revealing that he has a plan that there should be a new man on the, to replace Olaf the following day. So it says that this is their best chance to try and strike now or never. And eventually, when they go back to like the level 2 thing, and eventually it tells the truth, and eventually Kino confirms, and that it's their own choice to do now, one way out, if you will, and all that stuff. Meanwhile, we have we see others playing their activities elsewhere, like in the Imperial Security Bureau, Bureau, or the ISB. We have Deramolo receiving the news of the anti-Gregory group has decided to take in the bay to retrieve their dead pilot, all that stuff, in order to rescue them, while Supervisor Lures John convinces Major Pratas that Imperial forces should not wait, but should make their presence felt. As a result, you have Mara leaving the room as a result of this, while on Ferrex, Jezzy, I believe, from what I can recall, this is one of the daughters of Ferrex, apparently, telling, Dr. Mallory, and there's a random doctor in this episode and all that stuff. Let's see. Hold on. I'm just getting. Let me just get. While I believe they are. Whoops, wrong image there. I believe it's Andor's trying to. Let's see which one. No. Killer. No, wrong person there. Shoot, I should really have. Nope, sorry. Trying to remember. Oh dear Lord, I'm stalling here. Let's see, but yeah, the doctor's informing one of the sisters that let's see, she's not taking her medicine, and they're being watched by Satina Kaz and all that stuff. It was being watched, I believe, by an Imperial. Let's see, the other survivor of that heist, being watched by someone called Corp, who I believe is an Imperial and all that stuff. about the whole condition, and this is setting up that, let's see, something that Andor's mother is in critical condition. While Mon Mothma with Ted Komala is meeting the Chidarian banker Davos Gooden, which they talk about trying to hide. After a bit of discussion, planning to hide the fundings and that stuff, in which he offers to help her, but in exchange he wants to have a meeting between Mon Mothma's daughter and his son, who are close to age of 14 to 13 respectively. And Mon Mothma realizes that he wants to plan an arranged marriage with his son with her daughter, which she is against and all that stuff, and probably doesn't really want to refuse the cooperation. But whoops, I don't know. I accidentally deleted the wiki page. There we go. But Davos Gondon realizes that let's see, her not considering the offer is the first lie or untrue thing that she's told him to do and all that stuff. While I believe Keela Maraka informs, I believe Luthen Rail, the assistant to him, that there's a mark on some fountain, in which that means that this person is wanting to meet him and all that stuff. She thinks it might be a trap, but Rail says that it's been a year since the last contact, and he's going to have to risk the chance. And now we finally get to the prison revolution, or the uprising in Naka. In Nakafa. Whoops, damn it. Accidentally closed the one-way out page again, but yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to remember my notes here, or at least the order of the episode, all that stuff. And well, as soon as the new guy comes in, that's where people start laying their plan and all that stuff. With Andor, grabbing the wrench. I think he also caused a leak in the prison thing and all that stuff to disable the electricity and all that stuff. Some of the people get electrocuted and all that stuff. The new guy that was coming in gets killed, and amongst the casualties, I believe, are Sol, the sort of gingerhead dude, and Brennox, who Andor was trying to do a prison escape thing in the first place with, and they begin their uprising, shooting down prison guards and all that stuff. Busting other prisoners from other floors out, telling them that they're escaping. So eventually, they get to the main command room and get the control people to shut down the water thing while Kino Loy gives a speech about what happened to the thing and how this is our opportunity to approach, chanting the one way out. Many prisoners start running to to the top of the floors and all that stuff to come to escape. Where during this, you have quite a lot of the guards hiding out of fear that due to the fact they're outnumbered, they could easily be killed by all the guards and all that stuff. As they finally get to the top floor and all that stuff, the sky bridges and all that stuff. And just as about to jump up, Andor tries to get Kino to jump, but it's revealed that Loy cannot actually swim. And while Andor's trying to, before Andor could think of anything else, he's get pushed over by the other guards as they jump. And as they swim, and we see later that the only ones that we see are Andor and Rescott Mishi, who is actually one of the Rogue One rebels from Rogue One and all that stuff. I think he was the main one leading the charge that we did not actually that we did. Let's see, that was not of like the main 7 members of Rogue One. Wait, hold on. The main 6 from the thing, and which of course he eventually dies from and all that stuff. But yeah. So yeah, this is like Andor's origin with him and all that stuff. But yeah. Meanwhile, we end up, let's see, back on Coruscant, where we learn that the spy that Lufan Ral has is Lana Jin, the Imperial that told, let's see, let's see, what's his name, Patsagaz, that they should make their presence felt, and is informing Lufan Ral that they know that the Imperials know about Krager's plan to rescue the prisoner thing. And there's this new Imperial called Mero who is looking for someone called Axes, which he thinks is Lufan Ral and all that stuff. Which, let's see, and that he's trying to find her and all that stuff. Lufan Ral is not worried about Mero and tells Jung to lead her on with like a search and all that stuff, and he's not going to risk forming like let's see, Krieger's 50-man rebel group and all that stuff, and it's going to sacrifice them to the greater cause of rebellion. This leads Jung to get furious and all that stuff, and he doesn't really want to do this anymore, and he doesn't really want to sacrifice thing. But Lufan Ral tells him that it's best to keep his cover and that he's more important than those 50 rebels. And a sacrifice for the greater good, and also even pressures him about how, let's see, he has now a daughter and all that stuff, and that, let's see, he can't risk it having his cover blown and all that stuff, or retiring, because that could risk his daughter and all that stuff. And this gets to a heated argument about what Lufan Ral has sacrificed, in which, after a very bit of a passionate speech of all the enemies that he's made, people he's alienated, and all the sacrifices he's made, he sacrificed everything for this cause to take down the Empire and all that stuff, and implores Jung to complete his work, ending the episode. Okay, first off, I like the fact that Keenan Loy is not, let's see, initially agreeing to the plan and stuff and still has his doubts, but after more pressure from Andor about what his plan is to, like, let's see, jump them while a new person is transferring the guards and all that stuff. That's the best chance to escape. And there's like, and he persuades him, like, if I'm going down fighting and all that stuff. And there's words on it, and then it finally comes to like all the other prisoner guards. He finally tells the truth and all that stuff. So I like that, and I do like how they've got the operation where you see the tension pressure of when the new guy's coming in. They're trying to cover, make sure that Andor's get enough time to leak and all that stuff, get the weapons to disable and all that stuff. And let's see, when they finally knock down the guards, but it's like it proves difficult to come up because of other guards shooting at them. I do like how we have them throwing some of the parts there and all that stuff as they finding whatever the weapon they can to fight back. But of course, quite a few people get killed, including some from Andor's table, like Zal and Ernok, who I mentioned earlier, later one who was planning with Andor to escape and all that stuff. And it really goes to show, and I really like how, well, granted, I doubt anyone would be emotionally attached to these characters because of how little we actually know of them personally and all that stuff. But I do like that, let's see, the show is willing to kill off, let's see, familiar face characters to like cause a bit of tension, suspension. Let's see, even if there isn't like, even if no one's going to really be attached to these characters, but shows that not everyone's going to make it out, and there is casualties on the side, and some people and all that stuff. So I do like that, and I do like how, as the prison goes on, they get more weapons, they shoot, kill a few guards, break up the floors out and all that stuff, and start more rioting together the forces till they finally draw the bridge, and threaten. let's see, the people that work on the controls there to shut down everything and all that stuff. Which I should probably mention, I did like how they used the water to shut out the electric circuits on that the 12th floor. But not everyone, but there was like one or two that did not, well, I think one person that did not make it in time for the electrocution. But anyway, but back to the thing. But they and threaten those guards of, I think one of them eventually gets shot, but I can't recall if it was for a threat or whenever he was trying to stop, from what I can recall. But yeah, but I do like how Andor says that it needs to be Kino Loy doing the speech to tell everyone what happened to those 200 to 200 prisoners, how the Empire is not going to keep them there, and if this is their, and this prison break is their only way out, with a chant, one way out, as a sort of morale boost, and it works. You get so many of the prisoners escaping, and I do like how you've got so many of the Imperials scared and cowering and all that stuff. You have no eye. Let's see, and let's see, with like wondering if whether or not they're going to live or survive this, and whether or not they can actually contact the Empire for help, which seems like they probably won't be able to for a while. But yeah, but I do like how in the end, despite the fact that probably one of the reasons why Kino was very reluctant to try and do this escape plan and all that stuff in the end is because he couldn't actually swim, so let's see, he's doomed to be in this prison even if everyone else escapes and all that stuff. And before Andor can try and help him, he's pushed off and all that stuff, leaving his fate unknown. So yeah, so this might be the biggest casualty in the thing, but we don't know if it is a casualty or not because, well, let's see, we don't really see what happens to him afterwards. So yeah, and I think that would be pretty good for Star Wars in general if they just have this character just be completely remain a mystery whether or not he lives or he dies and all that stuff. Let it be the unknown. Let people guess is like whether or not he's been taken back in to be interrogated, if he was killed for like starting the riot in the being one of the master ringleaders behind the prison riot and all that stuff. But yeah, but it's also interesting that we only really see let's see, two confirmed people alive from the swimming thing, like I said, the guy from Rogue One, the minor character from Rogue One, Riscott Melissa. So it's very interesting how this episode is also a bit of an origin for this character, and how he ended up joining Rebellion, besides Andor, but more on a more minor streak where him and Andor managed to, let's see, get out of the water and climb all that stuff. We have no idea what's happened to the other prisoners. For all we know, some of them have drowned while swimming, gotten shot or killed by maybe Imperials, or got separated. But either way, we have no idea what's happened. And for all we know, Andor and him might be the only two survivors of this prison escape. And which might be a bit tragic when you think about it, because in long term, no one of these prisoners is alive by the time the original trilogy events take place. But I guess that shows the casualty of war, if you will, even though that's not technically a war yet. But yeah. But anyway, for some of the other plot points that have happened in this episode, let's see. Clearly, let's see, the thing that's happening with Marva Andor is, Andor's mom had not taken her medicines. It's clearly leading up to something. I know I've seen the episode, but I'm not going to spoil it just for those who end up seeing this review and not checking out. No, granted, I've hoped you at least watch the episode before hearing my thoughts. This is clearly building up something that's going to happen to her that's going to lead Andor to come back to Ferrix for the finale of this first season, if you will. And we still see like that one other rebel from the heist still watching her, but she's being watched by an Imperial now, which it gives me an idea that the Imperials might be onto her a bit and all that stuff. Even when she's pretty socializing some of the residents there, I think with one of the guys from a drink, from what I can recall. But yeah, but it's interesting but the interesting thing with Mon Mothma is that in her pursuit of meeting this banker that she really didn't want to do, from that recommendation from her friend, is that he is willing to help her hide the thing, but he wants something in return. And it's not money and all that stuff, but it seems to be social status, some sort of, social status with with Mum Mothma's family and all that stuff. And as a result, wants his son to get into arranged marriage with her daughter and all that stuff. And Mum Mothma, not really a fan of her planet, of her people's customs, is against this and all that stuff, but at least seems very disturbed by this and doesn't really want to think about it. But of course, the banker clearly tells us it's interesting, and that is an interesting thing for characters. Like, she clearly morally doesn't want to do this, but she's clearly thinking this might be for the best to keep herself not being caught by her empire and good for the future rebellion that she's doing. But yeah, it's like a very emotional morale and emotional struggle for Mon Mothma, where she's sacrificed everything for this rebellion. She's sacrificing everything for this rebellion, and she may even have to sacrifice her own daughter for it to succeed if she wants a chance of it happening and all that stuff. So yeah, I think this is a very great struggle for her character. It kind of shows you just kind of how mucked up the political class of the Star Wars galaxy is when you have in some customs when you have these forced arranged marriage, which we probably gave up. Which most of the West has given up for a couple of centuries now, I believe. But yeah. But the most interesting thing is that you have fulfilled that for the ISB, you have a spy with Luna Jung and all that stuff, who's able to convince Major Prakash to that. The Imperials not to wait and make their presence felt by the group, possibly sabotaging the thing, but which Dead Air and Mel's not happy about, and which you can tell when she storms off. I'm not sure if she's going to suspect the guy of being a spy in the end, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see where that plot is going, but I have a feeling that it's not going to be something that's going to be resolved until the second and last season. And that he ends up a spy for Farron, who goes in to meet him despite the risks and all that stuff, and where he is informed of Mero's pursuit of him, under thinking that he's someone called Axis, which he encourages Jung to have her follow and lead her astray and all this stuff, thinking that she's overestimates herself. As you can clearly tell that he's confident he's not going to be caught, but I guess we'll have to wait and see until this final episode. But for all we know, she might actually outsmart the guy. But it's also, we end up seeing a very darker side to Luthen and all that stuff, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. So we heard that Kragos, or this one separatist rebel with 50 men, is going to try and rescue this pilot. The pilot's actually dead. He's walking into a trap. He's going to willing to sacrifice them to keep his spies safe and keep them secure for the greater good and all that stuff, and not risk as many men. And not thinking that it's not worth losing his spy and all that stuff for these just 50 rebels, as the Imperials will get suspicious that they have a spy amongst their ranks. And Jung is very reluctant to try and keep doing this, given how morally questionable it is, but ends up being persuaded so when he learned that she has a daughter and all that stuff, and if he leaves, he could risk getting her daughter involved in his rebel activities and all that stuff by association, and gets anger at Luthen, questioning what has he sacrificed for rebellion, and he ends up revealing all his demons, how he probably won't be able to sleep at night later down the line, how he's probably sacrificed many of his relationships and all that stuff. In other words, everything. And I don't like how it's he's going this guy is committed 100% for this rebel cause to take down the Empire. He's willing to sacrifice, fellow rebels to do it, and even his own morality, self-conscious and morality and all that stuff, even if it has people judge him. This is a man that should not be estimated, which clearly is leading up, which is why also he's willing to like have like Andor taken out and all that stuff. Now, how? Let's see. Now, granted, I assume that Andor will be fully committed to the cause by then, but whether or not, let's see, he accepts that, but in time, who knows? Because we still have no idea what's going to happen to this character. So yeah, overall, I'd say this is a very good episode. A good finale for the for the third story arc, or technically fourth, I guess if you count that one episode that was a solo episode. But okay, but a third major story arc really. And the last of the three parters, as we now have a 2-part finale and all that stuff. Let's see. We learned how Andor, met a fellow Rogue One rebel and all that stuff during the story. Let's see some of the prisoners who died escaping, and some that we don't know what's happened. Moff Mothma making a questionable choice about his own daughter's future for the sake of the rebellion, and learning that Norel has a spy within the ISB, and what he's forcing the spy to do, and who to sacrifice in order to keep him secure and all that stuff. So yeah, overall, leading to and also the fact that Andor's mother is not being well, and might meet her end soon, and that may affect her Andor coming to see her and all that stuff. But overall, or might even be a possible. Overall, I'd probably say a 9 out of 10 episode. I mean, granted, I do feel like even though we only see 2 survive, 2 actual escapees, I do feel like that bit was a bit cut with like what happened to the others, even though I would like to get some implications. But yeah, overall, it was a great episode. Andor has been so far phenomenal, and I look forward to the 2-parter, which I know the final episode's out tomorrow. I still need to review the episode before then, but I figured best to have those 2 episodes to review 2 episodes late rather than 3. But yeah, overall, I'm Blue Starsaber, signing off. And thanks for those who end up listening to this review. Hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye. May the Force be with you.